evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, viewers. I'm Matthias Aufiku, news editor of the Namibian Sun newspaper. Welcome to another edition of the Evening Review show. Well, tonight we speak labor matters, unemployment to be specific. Of course, it has been a topical issue during the past few weeks. And of course, it's a challenge that we are grappled with as a country. And for that, we have in studio Mr. Mahongora Kavihuha, the Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress of Namibia. Good evening and welcome, sir.
Yeah, good evening, and thank you very much for having me here.
Yeah. Well, what did you make of the ongoing public discourse as far as unemployment is concerned? I'm sure the topical matter, the planned march on Independence Day that didn't really come to fruition anymore, but perhaps a sign of where the country is moving to.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me first applaud and give respect to the young leaders who initiated and take the leadership in terms of mobilizing their colleagues for the purpose of raising awareness. Because in African language, or I think that all African language, including my own, Misochi Herero, we have a word that says that a baby does not cry at the back of the mother, will die there. A baby cannot assume that the mother knows that I'm hungry until the baby starts crying. So unfortunately, it happened that the crying baby have to face further consequences in terms of being subjected to the police brutality. And I'm very disturbed by the statement made by the spokesperson of the Namibian police. We say people should report for them to be investigated. Who will trust the person to investigate yourself? So that is what it has been completely an irresponsible statement that the police have been making. It has been a completely irresponsible act of their behavior, and we are not going to take that very light, because you cannot subject a singing group, a dancing group, a toy-toying group to any brutality. So we are very disturbed by that. However,
just before you move on, Mr. Kavihuha, the police would argue that where do you draw the line between police brutality and maintaining law and order?
The issue here is that the right to protest, it's a constitutional guarantee, and you cannot apply to any person in order to exercise your right. The police are required to be notified, and the numbers of the police that we saw on that date, on that day, in and among the streets of Windhoek, you cannot match. Even the excuse that they used for them to propose that the demonstration must be postponed, it fall flat, because I'm sure that they even import some other police just to make sure that everyone remain in the house. And many of them, they were subjected to this kind of harassment while even not knowing or forgot that there was a strike going on. So we cannot draw the line between the two, cannot be compared. In fact, those that are demonstrating are equally should enjoy the protections. Equally, those are not demonstrating. But for the police to come and determine when to demonstrate, how to demonstrate, and with who to demonstrate, that is getting out of hand. Especially for a genuine call of unemployment, which the government is opt to ensure that they come up with policies that will encourage employment creation.
Where are we getting it wrong as a country as far as job creation is concerned?
We are getting it wrongly in the sense that we have wrong priorities. We are not serious about the job creation. We are a country where we don't have strict rules in order to keep the profit in the country, for the profit to be reinvested, for the for the employment to be created. We opened what is the company now? The Peugeot that we nearly opened a few years ago. What is it doing in Walvis Bay? So there are many things that we need. What we are getting it wrong, and what we have been saying, and everybody is saying, that we need to turn our eye back to agriculture. That is only where our mouth is supposed to be, and to ensure, because that is in our control. The other ones that are coming in and going out are in our control. But with agriculture, making sure that we put proper investments, we bring decent employment to agricultural sector, both communal and commercial, and I'm sure that we will address the issues. I think that everybody have been taking for granted because they are living in the comfort zone. And when you are living in the comfort zone, you realize that the other person who's crying that I'm burning, that person is joking.
So as a union, what would you say? What impact does this have on the work that you do? Of course, you have your members that fall under your umbrella, but is there any impact on the work that you do? The high unemployment figures in the country.
Yeah, high employment to us we call it a reserve army of trade unions, meaning that to us we don't see, we take high unemployment very serious because all our members, when they are retrenched, they go and join the club. And should those that are unemployed, all of them employed, it brings strength to the trade unions. And of course we understand also, that's why we are advocating for the full employment, which of course capitalists don't like. We also advocate for wage-led growth. We also advocate for the ownership of the workers within the means of production. Now, why I'm saying is that capitalists don't support full employment. Full employment, it works very well for capitalists in the sense that because there is high unemployment, you pay those that are in a system less, in a sense because if they speak, they will be just dumped and anyone can be poached in. And that is exactly what is happening. So high unemployment is a fertile ground for capitalism to flourish. But if you go to full employment, any employer think twice before you dismiss an employee. Any employer think twice before you stagnate the salary increases whatsoever. Because if you lose that person, you will have difficulty to recruit another one. That's why they don't like the issues of full employment. But of course, we have two kind of ideologies that need to coexist, and we see how best can we deal with it. Unfortunately, those that are in power of state, currently now in Namibia, they are too pro-capitalist, and we have difficulties in trying to navigate through to.
What do you make of perceptions that unions are very much reactionary? Instead of coming up with proactive policy suggestions as to how perhaps to grow the economic base or to how to create jobs, you are not involved in that space. That's what people are saying out there. What is your
reaction? I think that the person who says so is one of the person who belong to psychiatric hospital. He needs a psychiatric treatment in the sense that an organization like Tuna, in 2014, we produced a book of this thickness that covers all areas of economy. Even the issues of sovereign wealth fund that now is established is there in the Tuna policy. We are now talking about how do we organize and bring all non-state actors together for them to start identifying areas of common interest. We have discussed many things that we haven't waited for anything to happen. Even the policy on unemployment, democracy, all these kind of things we have been discussed about it. So I don't think that we are reactionary for that matter. The most important things that people should realize is that trade unions, and that's why I was even at another meeting where I shared a platform with the civil society organization, where some people were advocating that can we go for civil society to be regulated, and I will caution them that never go that route.
Why is that?
Because like trade union now, we are regulated, meaning that even if you see a house is burning, workers are mistreated, you cannot act outside the scope of the law. The law will follow you, and you will face the consequences because you subscribe to that law. Now, for someone who's not governed by that law, can do whatever he feels to do, and then that person look more, aggressive or more prompt when it comes to addressing those issues. But of course, on daily basis, as every leaders of a trade union report to the office, you have a numbers of activities that you're attending to. And I'm sure that even if we start publicizing these kind of things, you will be shocked.
So you guys want to remain a law unto yourselves?
To remain?
You want to remain a law unto yourselves?
A law?
A law unto yourself?
No. We are reaching out, and that's why we are fighting the issues of amendment of the Labour Act, because we have saw the issues of the Labour Act where it put the right to collective bargaining conditional. It conditioned that the only employees in a company where there is a 50+1% representation of a trade union, only those employees who can enjoy their bargaining rights, which I feel that is completely unconstitutional and unrealistic. Because the convention of which we ratified, 98, right to collective bargaining, and it says right to collective bargaining. It says that every employee has the right to collectively bargain.
Yeah.
Now, when you have to place conditions in your country that make it difficult, because trade unions organize when you're about to reach that threshold, the employer intervene with retrenchment or the dismissal, you come back again.
Is this actually something that's happening on the ground, Mr. Kavihuha, or is just something you are saying now?
It is happening. It is happening. I can even mention many companies went through that. And even with the Ministry of Labour, even in our proposals for amendment of the Labour Act, where we say that no. And not only that, because even there is what we call a committee of experts from ILO, where we raise those issues and they send a committee of experts, and even in their report, make it clear that it is completely unfair for those employees whom belong, the way they use minority unions.
Yeah.
Let's say that you have 3 unions or 2 unions in a company. This one is 50+1%, this one 30%.
Yeah.
Where you say that no, this one is only the one that should speak. What happened to this one? So even the ILO itself has a problem with this kind of arrangement. But of course, in the new amendment of the Labour Act, we will look at it, and we will, of course, some of the issues that we think are contravening the fundamental constitutional rights of a citizen, we will test it in the Constitutional Court.
Yeah. So if you are mentioning some of the shortcomings within the law as far as bargaining is concerned, why do you think there is this hesitancy to actually adopt your proposals in this regard?
The bottom line, you should know that the system of how to develop the laws in Namibia, it goes first to cabinet. Can you tell me what percentage of cabinet ministers have no business interest, have no business interest, or have business interest? I'm sure 80% of those that are sitting in cabinet, they have business interest. So technically they're employers. And which employer will want to enhance the workers so that they can raise their voices and demand their rights? So we are in a situation, and that's why the trade unions were left alone. The government, we're supposed to be a chest between the arms, and the employer, they are more or less the same, because those that are rating the government, they are also employers, and they have business interest. So the trade unions and workers are left alone, fighting two heavyweight establishment. So everything that you are trying to bring forth, you will always be met with objections and delay. And the problem also, our parliamentary system in terms of enacting the laws is very slow. Whether those that are sitting in parliament, they don't understand their work, or just incompetent completely, or they have been too much comfortable in their positions. They don't even listen. Imagine that when they have to go for even the committees, they know that the committees are dealing with specific areas of interest. There are already established organizations who have carried out research on those interest areas. But you hardly hear a committee inviting even a trade union to come in here, or parliament. What do? For the purpose of SNT, they went to regions. And whom do they use in the region to organize the meeting? Office of Governor or Office of the Regional Council. Who are this one in the organogram of the state separation of power, the executive? How is that possible? You are an independent arm of parliament, but when you carry out your activity, you have to rely on executive. So that compromises everything.
Okay. Well, Mr. Kavihuha, we'll head for a short break, and we'll be back to continue this conversation. I just want you to gear up your thoughts on the subject of the proposed unemployment grant and what you make of that. To our viewers, wait for a short break and we'll be back to continue this conversation.
Please, put on your safety belt, sir. It's very important for your life.
The seatbelt doesn't make me drive comfortably. Yes, that's better. Please wear your seatbelt. I did not.
The My.NA Cars Show provides viewers with the best in-class cars content, engaging interviews, as well as a showcase of the latest cars-related news, products, and services. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact My.NA at synergy.com.na. My.NA Cars, more than just a ride.
Well, we're back from the short break. We'll continue our conversation. Mr. Kavihuha, there has been public calls for government to consider introducing what many call an unemployment grant. What do you make of that?
Yeah, for the sake of the listeners, I need to separate the two.
Mm-hmm.
There is an unemployment grant, and there is an unemployment benefit, and also there is a big. So our interest is on two. The basic income, universal, non-discriminatory, basic income grant. That we are standing for it. That money must be given to each and every Namibian, irrespective of your status. And why is that money is given to each and every Namibian? Is to give what we call a leverage. Or even a bargaining power. Because if this money is given to each and every Namibian will be able to visit ShopRite or any other retailer. And when they visit that one, where will that money be left? Will be left at. And where will the 15% be left? To the state. So what you do, you are generating demand. You understand? By making sure that everyone is able at least to afford. Even the what is this thing? Sanitary pads, what they were talking about. Yes. So it's very important that's why the basic universal, non-discriminatory basic income grant is very important. Now, the argument is that apparently those wealthy ones like yourself, unlike us, you are also receiving. But we are saying that you can derive mechanisms on how to collect that money back from you. But we have to ensure that we cut against the administrative costs, which cause that some benefits are not even reaching out to the maximum, and the studies around that. 2016, World Bank have carried out extensive study, even on the existing ones. The other one is when you were working, you were contributing to a specific fund, and you are retrenched or you are dismissed, at least for 6 months or 12 months or 2 years, while you are busy looking for employment and you have contributed to it, you can still get something to survive on. You understand? So these two are cornerstone benefits that we as Tugna are stand for, and it must happen. So the issues of affordability, I think that is someone who haven't carried out any research who can argue about that one.
But surely you can't ignore that. If you see the levels of poverty in the country, can you ignore that?
Yeah, the level of poverty in the country, you see, because most of them are being denied the basic, which we are saying is that it should come from a basic income grant. Most of them, that's why the poverty is there. The moment you give this to everyone, the issues of poverty become history. Because everyone is able to afford at least a bra. Unlike now, you are unable to afford anything.
But the You say that can become history, but then of course what won't go away is the fact that how do we sustain this?
How do we sustain? It's very simple. I spoke to you about it. When you give it, where does that money go?
Yeah.
Remember that the most people that are spending money within our economy are the poor ones. This rich one, even the simple suit, they have to travel to France to go and buy that suit. So who always go to try and buy from our local shops? Are those poor ones. So who are keeping the money in the country in essence? Are the poor ones. So where does the sustainability come from?
Yeah.
And our resources have proven beyond this. That's why we are upper middle income country.
Yeah. Government is not happy about that.
No, that's completely being ridiculous and irresponsible. The bottom line is that when you are calculating, you are taking the possible reserve you have and versus the population. Can you see now? And the science have proven that what we have can sustain every Namibian to live middle to upper level living. Lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, what even they went further to say that your problem is priority. But we don't want to look at the priority. We want to be regarded as a small children. It's not the case.
Yeah.
The bottom line is that we can afford only if the government becomes serious, and if they become human-centered government, which have human-centered approach, which will motivate everyone to ensure that we benefit from the resources.
But what do you make of past red flags and cautions that say that our social safety net system is overburdened?
The issue here is that the way our social safety net system is structured is very pathetic.
Yeah.
That's why we've been saying that we need to collapse everything in one, introduce basic income grant, life goes on. The way we've done, the way we structure our social safety net was the issues of who will benefit where.
Yeah.
I am from outside the country, I want to benefit, let's start creating the veteran something. I am whatever, let's start this. I am whatever, let's start this, so that this can be given to a company X, which I have shares, so that they can start distributing the money out. So there is a genuineness in the whole thing. And I thought that they will come up with a very comprehensive social security, not social security, social protection policy. If you go and lead to that policy, you wonder who developed this policy. It's completely uncalled for.
Yeah.
So that's why we have a proposal for that, where we are saying that we want the Social Security Commission to be turned into social protection institution.
Yeah.
All the social protection or social safety net, how you call them, to be housed by this institution for all these funds to complement each other's, to supplement each other's, and for them to see how best now they can figure out, taking in considerations recommendation 204 of the ILO, which have provided the shop floor safety nets.
Yeah. How would you describe the Namibian job market? Whenever you discuss or meet up to have consultations with your members, what are you hearing from them?
I think that our labor market is characterized by the precarious employment situations, where there is no security. Most of the companies are recruiting on short term, which make it difficult for even people to access banks and get some other assistance for them to stabilize their lifestyle. And also the most important thing is there is no value addition taking place within the economy. So we are now living on extractive industry where everything goes out. What only come in the country is a hand-to-mouth kind of businesses.
Yeah.
And that makes it more difficult for the country. That's why we are heavily reliant on South Africa and on other countries. What we can export is only what we can get from the ground, like a diamond or those kind of things. So I think that we are very vulnerable. And I was saying this especially in light of the Africa Free Continental Trade Agreement, that are we able to stand the pressure from other countries who are serious about the value addition issues. And you saw even industrialization policy, how we go about it. You go to the investment policies, they are very secretive. That's why even the NAMCOR and Nampanda things coming forth now, what's happening at NAMCOR is because the agreement they signed with Qatar, they keep it completely secret. But that's supposed to be an agreement for the masses.
Does the Tukna members know all the agreements that, that the leadership engages in?
We don't know those kind of things, but that's why we have started already into various discussions. Even I remember the meeting that we had with the Minister of Industrialization, where we said that no, you need to open up to the trade union so that we can also be involved in the trade policies, investment policies, and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
Trade union, because you cannot talk about investment in Namibia and you leave labor out. So we should know that if you sign, because we have a lesson from Ramatex.
Yeah.
You understand? So we have all these kind of things. We have to learn from a lesson. So I think that for a credit, Lucia Ipumbu, she was open-minded for that. And hopefully we'll hope that the Namibia Trade Forum will become a tripartite structure. But now it's bipartite, it's only business and government. We think of opening up tripartite. And within our agenda as State Union also, we took it upon ourselves that no, in the context of the Africa-African Unitary Agreement, we also need to introduce a chapter or a protocol on labor, so that when we are talking about this free trade whatever, the component of labor and social aspects are taken care of.
Yeah.
And that can only be taken care of if the opportunity is created by a national government to include the trade union to have a say in it.
Yeah.
Positions are there, capacity is there, and everything is there from our side. The only thing is that the door that we are knocking, hopefully it will open one day.
Well, Mr. Kavihuha, we really appreciate your time this evening and we wish you well going forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Let's
much.
continue debate.
Yeah.
Next time have someone from the state where we can correct each other and see what can we do moving forward, because the only thing that will take Namibia forward is when we social dialogue, we debate, we appraise each other, we build trust.
Yeah.
Is the most important. That's where we are lacking.
Yeah.
I think that as a country, from independence to now, we fail to work on the issues of being transparent and accountable, which eventually translate into trust, so that we can feel the success together, failure together, the pain together, and we can find the solution jointly.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Well, to our viewers, that's it from the Evening Review team. Have a pleasant evening. See you again tomorrow, same time, same place.
Ciao.